I should probably unmute myself and add myself to the stream. Welcome to another episode of Lucky 7, focusing on anime, animation, cartoons, and the stuff we grew up and lived on. And today we have Keith, which is not Keith, and Strip Doctor. I already messed up the name, so welcome, chat. Hi, guys.
Strip Doctor. I gotta get. I just found a night job, a night gig.
Oh, you just put a stripper pole behind you and you're good. How are you guys doing? We're waiting on Keith and the other people who haven't shown up yet.
Gotta get a bit more in line with the Strip Doctor.
Giggity, giggity. All right.
And then there's Gary. Hi, oh my god, dude, seriously?
What?
I didn't know you lost your shirt. How are you guys doing?
Strip Doctor
is in. I don't know what happened to the rest of our crew, but we're going to get into it. I don't know what to talk about right now.
Keith often gets distracted by internet porn, so he'll be back.
Oh, okay.
Scriblight, I have never seen before. Is that like a distant cousin?
Scriblight. We follow each other. He's a very cool dude.
Yeah, he does these TED Talk videos, which are absolutely awesome.
Tank top videos?
Plus, he is...
Yeah, that too.
He is very intellectual with his snark, and I like that. And with his little witticisms, his criticisms that are witty.
That's cool. And then we have Terry Wilkin joining in, one of my mods, one of the trustworthy ones that haven't burned down my chat yet, so I appreciate having her here. Studios, animations, cartoons. You guys have a personal favorite you want to start on? Anything you remember the most when you were younger?
This episode is brought to you by Fat Steven, the guy who goes through friends like a fat woman through chocolate.
I love you, the Guyver, I love you. Hey, who's
That was really well timed.
It's Gary. You have to be on time. And we have another one joining the crew. And please welcome with a tongue and Kate. So there we go. And she's drinking her tea.
All right, I'll get off because I get so tired of being the only living person, so I wanted to hide behind it. But then Kate comes in, and hello, Kate.
Hello.
Hello, Kate.
It's espresso. I don't drink tea.
I don't know that. I don't hang out beside people's windows. That's too much effort.
No, really, it is a lot of effort. You got to get a chair. You got to get camouflage clothing.
I just dress up like an owl and sit on a bench. What are you talking about?
That would be a giant owl.
Oh, would be. Shit, one of my favorite YouTube channels just launched a video. I gotta go. No, just kidding.
Is it your own video, Gary? Is that it? Is it your own video?
No, it's this show called Criminally Listed. It's a Canadian-produced crime show. Yeah, I really like his channel.
So is it drive-by apologies?
Yep.
Oh, it's Zach's. What's up, Zach?
Hey, Zach. How you guys doing? We're waiting on Keith to show up, but let's get into it. You guys remember the Transformers, right? Gen 1?
Yes.
Did you guys see what I was flipping out about yesterday, by chance?
Yeah, the automatically transforming Optimus Prime.
This thing of sex and plastic and gears?
It is amazing.
But I'm not. I want to play the audio, but I don't want to get claimed. But for those who haven't seen this, watch this.
Transforming Optimus Prime, and I'm not talking the kind of toy that you have to bend
and
twist and
make chick ruining the video.
How to...
All right, we're gonna go ahead.
At this Robosin.
Oh my God, she's still talking.
It's way too long of a video.
Now watch this.
It sounds like him.
But they got Peter Cullen to do more voices for it?
Yeah,
they did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Should we give it a shot?
It has voice commands.
Transform.
Oh my God, this thing. Hey Keith, this thing is also. Hold on. It is fully programmable. Like you can do custom commands with your phone. It does come with, I guess, accessories because you'll see later on. It's voice activated. And it's 19 inches tall. Hello, ladies.
Why does the top part of the chest and torso spin around? That's not what happens in the cartoon.
You still have your little plastic pieces on your arms. How you doing? Hi,
but look at it.
It's beautiful.
Are you moving?
I think it's a gyroscope they have in there to maintain balance, so it looks like breathing, but it's pretty much to maintain its balance from toppling over, which I think is pretty ingenious about this.
Are there other voice commands listed? Attack!
Holy shit, that is so cool. Oh,
You
my
didn't see this
fucking
part?
God.
I was born at the wrong time.
Yeah, I know. You and I
This-
both, brother.
Kidding, you're born at the perfect time. You can buy this and not have anyone judge you. Like your parents.
They are sold out. They are $700 US, and the other places have them for $900 US.
Defend.
Jeez.
That's who they sold out
Rent.
to.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm just guessing voice commands. Clearly, this.
Now imagine if they were able to hook it up like the way the old school Furbies were, right? I'm gonna pause it for a second. Remember when you had two Furbies close by close, right? They would talk to each other because of whatever they were reacting to them. Now imagine if you had an Optus like this and they decided to do a Megatron.
Or a
Or they like to
wheeljack
say,
or
"Oh."
whatever, yeah.
Or any of them, yeah. Hail Clobberin. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, Clobbering Times, what's up?
Hey, Shay, thanks for dropping by.
Oh,
I'm glad she's
Cavatino's
been
in
over.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
Cavatino's in here. What's up, brother?
But look, but this thing,
Collectible.
this is, I think, every kid's dream if you were a Transformers fan,
They did
because it does everything
I mean, we
except
finally have
tell
our
you you're
greatest
beautiful.
Scientific achievement of our lifetime.
Oh, you can
And-
program that in.
And we also have T-shirt joining us. But look at this.
A little bit of a backstory on this guy right here. He's made by a company called RoboSim, and this is not their first time making a high-end
See?
robot. In fact, I got to see a transforming type robot over at Toy Fair in 2020, and then early this year, they also were showcasing a new robot.
Okay, hold on.
One, he's wanted to be able to make what you see in front of you, this 15 inches tall. There are 80 different sound effects. I want you to
80.
see all of the details here.
Wow.
These wheels are nice and rubber.
Okay, she said nice and rubber.
Cool tail lights.
Lots of things to clip from there, yeah.
Eyes
Yes,
light
yes.
up. This is the original voice of our fearless Autobot leader, Peter Cullen. Yeah, because you don't want any other voice but
Nope.
Peter Cullen's voice. That's who you want.
Why would they use that
There's no
Optimus?
other
That was so
Optimus
weird.
Prime voice. I'm so glad they have the voice.
Greetings, friend. I am Optimus Prime.
Aside from being controlled by voice command,
Now watch.
roll out. Roll out. The app has a
But you
remote
have to keep
control
yelling
option.
at it. It's not as much fun.
I
as
have
getting her seat.
young kids. They don't.
Pardon?
You have to keep yelling at it to move. That's not as much fun as just moving.
Well, it's better than kicking it like a ferret. So you know you got to step up there.
Nobody kicks a ferret. Get the fuck out
I
of
don't know.
here.
I was talking to actually. No, actually, I'll actually prove you wrong if Geek Time shows up. One of their people on the show actually had one that climbed up his leg and he freaked out, right? So he knocked it off his leg and he did kick it. But now he still has that ferret as his pet to this day. So yes, people do kick ferrets out of fear. I'm gonna get so fired for that. The sound effects are really cool though. Like I can't stop looking at this.
You are my friend.
That face. That face.
That's very
And the Transformer fan
It is
was just
so-
born in front of us.
I would just like to point out the stream element. I would like to highlight Gary for a second. I got it everywhere. As you can, oh shoot, my branding is still on there, so we can manage it. All right, cool. Is a promote sharing. Stream Elements is my programmable bot. It runs through the channel, Gary. It's only sharing my things, nothing else. But after saying
Oh,
that,
so
would
it's
you
a good
guys-
idea for me to ask in a private chat.
I just muted myself to say yes.
You're so
It's-
good.
I am. So what do you guys think of that?
Nice mask.
I like
Nice
that
mask,
mask.
T-shirt.
Why, thank you.
That's cool. I'm
It's all
so
blurry now for some reason.
yeah.
He's leaning too close to the camera.
Yeah, sit back a little bit.
Why do I
There
want
we
to
go.
solve this?
There, it's in
yeah,
focus.
that's in focus. For some reason, I had Nine Inch Nails.
That is really cool.
You
Is
know,
that steampunk?
Yeah, you know what'd
Somewhat.
be even cooler? If
What's that?
some of those gears turned. That'd be fantastic.
It would.
Did
And
you
one
make
more
it or
thing
not?
too is to have a jaw part that attaches to your chin. So when you talk, it looks like a skull talking.
Yeah, you know, I can't have everything, I guess.
Oh, but you can.
Yeah, you can find something like that. I guarantee it. Just go buy a Halloween skull with a separate jaw, cut it up, and slap that on your chin. Don't
You can
use
write-
epoxy.
Oh, just use Gorilla Glue. I hear it works amazingly.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
Just
with
smear it all over
hair.
my hair, it'd be great.
Yeah.
All right. But after that, who wants to
Speaking of
start?
Gorilla Glue, hi, Kate.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, dude, no. Why did you go there?
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. It's
Her
called a
hair
non
is beautiful,
sequitur.
dude. Really?
Oops.
Yeah, you guys assumed way too much.
I didn't assume anything. But let's get into the cartoons. Let's get into our shows. What do you want to go in first? Who has a favorite show they remember when they grew up, and why was it so special to you? Let's start with the Skullfuckers Incorporated.
Me?
You're wearing the skull. I thought 9 Inch Nails. You know, I went with it.
I haven't listened to Trent in a very, very long time.
Oh, your
So-
mic's doing that thing again.
It is?
Yes.
Yeah,
What thing?
And all spotty.
it's gargling your voices.
It's like your vocals were written by Coates.
Ooh. I don't know why.
But
Is
there,
it getting any better?
step back from it a little bit. Maybe that's the problem.
How about now?
I didn't hear it that time.
Okay,
There
good.
you go.
Okay.
It's all right. Well, then someone go ahead, teacher.
Yeah, what was your favorite cartoon as a kid?
Let me see.
National Geographic.
That's not a cartoon.
I love the
No, but
women
your
of
voice is
Africa.
sounding like the guy who narrates it.
Me too.
It does.
My assistant Tom will attempt to circumcise.
Yeah, you
a
got
water
major.
buffalo.
You got major static. You might have to reboot your mic.
Wait, are you shitting me? Really?
No,
No.
you sound like a popcorn machine about to have a stroke.
A popcorn machine about to have a stroke. I tell you what. Let me see. Maybe
Chat. Put a 1 in the chat if he sounds very staticky.
is that better?
No,
It's still staticky.
it's worse.
It's worse now.
Yes.
How is it worse?
Someone says you sound like Woody Woodpecker. I don't know what that means.
That's what I normally sound like.
What? My mic is fucked up. Sorry. Try now. Yeah, you got a bunch of people saying your mic is messed, dude. I'm not joking. Zax is saying that. Soul Assassin is saying that. Toxic's saying that. Well, that's
Oh
Woody
my gosh.
Woodpecker.
All right,
Terry
all right.
Wilkin, Clobberin.
Hold on.
All right, next
He's a
on the list.
historian. He could have just given us a history lesson. It would have been like we were watching those old slideshows from elementary school.
That is true. All right, then Script, you're up. What is your favorite cartoon?
My favorite cartoon, The Venture Brothers. A little bit more modern, but freaking awesome cartoon.
As a kid, though, what was your favorite?
Ooh, probably the Batman the Animated Series, along with the real Ghostbusters.
Are you talking like the one with the actual theme song they used for the movie, or the ones like where they had Ultimate and all the spin-offs, or the one with the
No.
monkey?
So there's the Ghostbusters, which had the ape, and that one was not as interesting. And then there's the real Ghostbusters, which had Arsenio Hall as Winston, Lorenzo Music as Pete Bakeman, Maurice LaMarche as Egon, and I can't remember who Ray is for the life of me right now. But no, that was like that show went on, I think, 7 seasons, and the first 4 were amazing because not only did they have in that first season really interesting stories, but they had like unique Ghostbuster style music playing within the episodes. So they'd actually have someone compose and write and do some lyrics to certain type of songs that felt within the first film of when like they were either intense moments or like during a climax scene or an investigative scene. And
You said
they slowly
climax.
phased that out as the show progressed, unfortunately. But no, that was a great kids cartoon show at the time.
Yeah, it was. Who did you relate to most of all, though? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who would you be? I wonder.
What character would I be in Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I want to know that. Come on, you got
probably
so
Ray-
much to choose
well,
from.
For
He's
the
Egon.
films, I'd probably be Ray Stantz. For the cartoon, I'd probably be more Egon.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay,
And okay,
does it
what
sound any better? Does it sound any better?
you do sound better, yes, T-shirt.
Okay, good deal.
Toxic
So that worked.
Man Flu says he likes Roadrunner and Space Ghost. Now, is that the original Space Ghost or Coast to Coast? Because both were great.
Well, if he's saying Roadrunner, he probably means original.
Well, yes. All right. That's cool. Well, it's T-shirt. You're back on the floor, man. Let's have some fun with this. Like, let's just talk about stuff like cartoons. Let's just go. It's
Okay, it's kind of a toss-up because they came up at different times. But I loved Thundar the Barbarian on weekends. But Thundar went off the air, and Dungeons and Dragons came on after that, and that was actually those two were my favorites of all time, I think. At least for Saturday morning cartoons.
Okay.
If you're talking like overall cartoons, like anime and everything, just like in all the way, gotta be Fist of the North Star.
You guys can talk about why you like them, like
I'm
Elaborate
sorry.
for us, please.
Did you wish me to elucidate? I'm so sorry.
I will definitely
Okay,
get Wile E. Coyote cards in the meantime.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, I love Thundar because the character designs were so cool. Plus, I grew up reading Conan comics, and Thundar was about as close as you could get to that. Plus, it was kind of a cool little, world they had. A world of super science and sorcery. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is like, the best parts of sci-fi and fantasy. Because I was a big Dungeons and Dragons nerd growing up. And when that went off the air, the Dungeons and Dragons show was probably my favorite. And
Speaking
I think that
of
one ran
Dungeons
for
and
3
Dragons,
seasons.
did you see that live action commercial they did recently for a car?
I did.
That
I was
so
extremely
freaking awesome.
I was extremely happy with that.
Commercial? What
Yeah.
are commercials? I haven't seen
Come
those
on,
in
Script.
20 years.
That was Keith doing the drum thing.
I thought he sneezed.
Script, you don't do facetiousness very good.
He's a good writer,
He's
not
a good writer.
actor.
I am definitely not an actor now.
That's what I'm talking about now.
You know something about this, Keith? This is the original, right?
Oh yeah,
That's the original.
Because all the other stuff does not look like that.
Mm-mm.
Look, since this is up, I guess it's my turn. It's definitely Johnny Quest. Oh, you go ahead.
You and
Go
I
ahead.
are going to share a lot of the same ones, Keith, because you and I grew up around the same time.
Yeah.
Before Keith goes, Gary, would you like to read this lovely Toxic Man Flu pop culture fact?
Fat Steven, I am glad to see you're giving space on your live stream for someone with mental disabilities like T-shirt.
This is where you laugh, T-shirt. It's a joke.
Oh, was it supposed to be funny?
I don't get
it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Toxic. I tried. This is such dead air. Let's just talk. Oh my god.
Whoa.
Okay. Well, since Keith is busy, I guess I'll continue. Yeah. So anyway, my top cartoon of all time is going to be Fist of the North Star, though.
That's a good show.
I was always into martial arts, and to see an anime that was just so well done, and a manga that was so just beautifully drawn. It was just a great combination. Plus, the story was awesome. I mean, it's about martial artists fighting in the post-apocalyptic future, and they have powers and abilities unlocked through their martial arts skills that normal human beings can't even hope to possess. I mean, the main character Kenshiro can explode people from inside just by hitting their vital points where their meridians interact. I'm like, wow, that's just like the ultimate martial arts ability. I mean, it's like, Kenshiro would take down Iron Fist in a heartbeat, and it wouldn't even be a contest.
Okay.
But that's my main one. These days, currently, though, my favorite anime is probably Berserk. I can't say the cartoons are really great, though.
Oh,
Why
come
is
on.
that?
Bird Girl?
Everyone loves Bird Girl.
Yeah, that's a thing.
You got to pay me to watch that damn thing.
I
Yeah,
tried
would
watching
say
it. I
that's
was out. I
appropriate.
was
That's
out.
the only way.
I don't know about Bird Girl.
Keith, are you back?
All right. What about you, Kate? Anything you remember? I know you're a Venture Brothers fan, up like
Yeah.
more than I am.
What was the fluid? In general, Venture Brothers is probably my most favorite, but like childhood favorite. Spider-Man, probably.
Yeah.
And, like, I totally forgot about this. For the record, it is fucking cold out, and yeah. So
Yes.
I'm going to give Toxic Man Flu a timeout.
Why?
Cartoons and anime are different.
Oh
They
my
are
come on!
different.
Just,
Oh my!
just
they're different. They are.
They are not different.
Do a
I
lot
think
more.
Gary's still angry about the whole logo for the channel. Here, I'll fix that. There, your face is gone now, Gary.
It's,
Oh, I didn't care about that.
They are different.
Okay.
They're supposed to be different. It's good that they're different. That's like
So
saying
which Spider-Man did you like? The one from the 60s or the 90s?
90s. How old do you think I am?
Well, no, the 60s one was in syndication for like 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
probably
it's
just
still
like
in
Spider-Man and His
syndication.
Amazing Friends.
I'm trying to think. Is that the one you're talking about? Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends?
Me?
I think
Oh,
she-
heck no.
That was 80s.
No, she's talking about the Fox Kids one that had the guitar riff at the beginning and they were first
Yeah.
using
Oh, yeah.
CGI, like for the
Right.
intro.
Camelot,
Okay.
yeah, Hobgoblin.
It's the only one that really. It's the only one that really understood the premise of having the cityscapes be part of the experience.
Oh yeah, I can agree. I love that cartoon. It was very well done. The only thing that pissed me off about that cartoon, I know a lot of people are the same way, is the way they ended it. Let's go, Peter, and find Mary Jane, Madam Whip off. No conclusion. Like, thanks a lot. He did all this
Yeah.
work and he got nothing.
That's
Nothing.
a lot of cartoons in the 90s and off, so they just end. Like, other than maybe having a movie, I don't know of any that actually had a conclusion.
Well, they were canceled during the mid to last leg of that season's production. So they had no time to rewrite any of the episodes and get them reproduced to do a closeout. And that had to do with that Via Rod, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah.
But even so, I think the only cartoon I can think of that had a definitive conclusion was Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Animated
That was a good
racism?
show.
What?
That was a
It
good
is a
show.
great show. It's smart.
I used to watch that with Zoe all the time. Crack me up. Hey, Eddie.
You know, Soul Assassin. That's also a good one. MTV did have Spider-Man.
They
show.
did.
Oh,
And that
Neil
was
Patrick
Yeah,
Harris.
I really like the
That
theme
was the
to that
CG
show.
one, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun.
It was like a
They-
cell shaded CG. It wasn't just like what. The
Yeah, it was
cartoon
really
CG
good.
stuff.
The animation worked, and I don't know why they canceled it.
Because it's MTV.
Yeah, they don't have money. No, literally, they don't. They can barely afford the shows that they put on at any time. There was a cult show that was on MTV once, and then it got bigger following. It was called Undergrads.
Oh yeah.
Before you do
Oh.
that, though, we have to go way back because you guys are forgetting a very, very older one that came on around midnight, the same time as Aeon Flux and the Max.
Yeah, I watched Iron Flux, and
Boundless is our secret
Yeah.
fact.
Now, you guys remember
Turn
this?
not a blind third eye to these twilight anomalies.
Vaguely,
The Max, the Oddities, all that stuff.
The
That was
Head,
like
I
around.
remember them. I
Yeah.
remember them.
That's
Real Wade
post
Nation
Liquid
brought up one
television.
too, that the regular show had a proper ending too, and I liked that show too. I watched it. with my daughter.
It was great. I could put it on a
See-
24-hour stream and just have fun with it.
Yep.
You know, a lot of that stuff for
Gargoyles.
Oddities, I think, was picking up the pieces after Liquid Television. So Liquid Television, I thought, was better, but MTV Oddities was good. It's just a personal preference. So, you know,
I never
So-
watched MTV.
You never watched the Oddities, though?
Dude, I was a baby then.
I'm
Literally.
not. Well, same here, but I would still watch the old stuff. Like, you could find it. Oh, we have to introduce you stuff because that stuff was like crazy. You had an alien that lived in the guy's head and would just mock him the whole time. And you had like all these weird guys with a saw in the middle of his head. They were all, I think it was like circus oddities. That's what it was. It was great.
That's,
But,
that's kind of like you and Gary then, huh?
Ooh. You know, Kate, I also, let me put in a request that you also check out a lot of MTV's Liquid Television, because all of that stuff was just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Dog Boy, Dear Mom, even that's where Ian Flux came from, was Liquid Television, and just all of the various stuff that they ran for that show was just amazing. Just amazing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So twisted.
what was your favorite out of the Liquid Television series then, Keith?
Oh, it's Aeon Flux. Aeon Flux was well ahead of everyone else, although I got some perverse
The eyelashes capturing a fly tripped me out.
Yeah, you know, I just thought it was amazing. And between that and I got some perverse pleasure out of Dear Mom. You know, Dear Mom. You know, I just, all of it, the whole thing was just well done. And I wish I could have like just a whole channel dedicated to just rerunning all that stuff. But I think that was also loosely, yeah. Well, also, I think it was also loosely based out of or spun out of Spike and Mike's a whole animation scene that they had going for years. You know, that really is the reason why you had. That's the reason why you had stuff like Bambi versus Godzilla is a classic.
Bambi versus Godzilla.
But also, you had what ended up becoming Beavis and Butthead, because that's where Frog Baseball came out of before it even went to MTV, and it was all Spike and Mike.
Hey, do you remember Ren and Stimpy?
Yes.
Stimpy, you idiot! Sack of protoplasm.
Polder toast, man! Quick, man, cling tenaciously to my buttocks.
But anyone within the sound of my voice, if you've never seen Liquid Television, do yourself a favor, seek it out. I still think they have certain ones that you could find on YouTube. But that's one of those shows that you should definitely check out. Between that and the stuff that they were running on Icebox in the late 90s, early 2000s, Hard Drinking Lincoln, Mr. Wong, Starship Regulars, those, you know, all of those shows could never really be made today because they would be considered triggering factors for certain people in our society. But Starship Regulars is the show that they ripped off for the new Star Trek animated series.
Ripped off for all the wrong reasons.
That's right.
Soul Assassin. It might be kind of interesting for you to note. Fist of the North Star and Dragon Ball came out about roughly the same time back in, I want to say 1983, 1982. They kind of ran almost neck and neck for popularity.
Oh my God, Gary, where did you find this?
Right here.
This is because Keith and I really need to pretty much talk
Go ahead.
about the same time because we grew up on the same shows, and this is the comic series. This is a comic series called Future Quest that pulled from the cartoons from 1966 through 69, which included Frankenstein Jr., The Impossibles, Thundar the Barbarian, or not Thundar, the Herculoids.
The Herculoids.
Birdman and the Galaxy Trio, Moby Dick and the Mighty Mytor, and Johnny Quest, and of course my absolute favorite, Space Ghost.
Now, this comic book series was because DC Comics had done a deal. I think Warner Brothers bought Hanna-Barbera, and so DC Comics did a thing where they decided, okay, let's just, print some of these Hanna-Barbera characters. And this is one of the few really cool ideas that Dan Didio oversaw and had, which is to create the ultimate team up between all of the action heroes of the Hanna-Barbera universe. And it was amazing. And they only did that one. And it was just...
Yeah, one season of Johnny Quest repeated every year, and I watched it every year.
I have a question for both of you guys. Pat S. is asking, what is a Herculoid?
This creature here and these people and that big stone-like gorilla are the Herculoids.
Those are the Herculoids.
Oh, and the one flying in the background.
Way back here.
Way back here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if Thundar the Barbarian were to truly be combined with, say, Tarzan, and he had a family, but was living on a planet with these creatures that he had tamed to basically kick butt, that's the Herculoids.
Yep.
Now, I find it interesting that two characters are in connection with each other in the artwork. These two are voiced by the same actor.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to tell them who that was?
Blue?
Tim Matheson.
Tim Matheson.
Chick in the Blue? Oh, yeah, she's one of the... she's one of the... yeah, no.
On the hood of the car?
On the hood of the car.
Oh, she's one of the Impossibles.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hanna-Barbera had this whole run of characters in the 60s that were pretty much their own version of superheroes that, for whatever reason, for years, nobody ever had the idea of teaming them up in their own adventure, and DC Comics did it. They had an amazing, just that story where you see where you had Johnny Quest meet Space Ghost for the first time. Was just if that entire comic had just been Johnny Quest and Space Ghost, it would have been just like best comic, bar none. But they had everybody, and it was just.
And the fun part about our childhood too is that a lot of the parks around the country were owned by the same company, Hanna-Barbera, Warner Brothers, and so you would have the Six Flags. Or in Virginia, where I grew up, we had King's Dominion. King's
Island
all
in Ohio.
These rides named after superheroes from comic books or cartoons from Hanna-Barbera. You had the Batman ride, Superman ride. You had the Scooby-Doo coaster was one of my favorite coasters as a kid. And just so much cool shit. And everything was based on the animated shows, and it was a theme park. And it was like the cheap Disney World. Or affordable Disney World, as we called it. We go there all the time. And I loved Hanna-Barbera cartoons, and I know you did too, Keith. Just some of the best shit on television.
Look, my absolute favorite when I was a kid was Johnny Quest because of all of the different things that Johnny Quest represented. Doc Savage, Tom Swift, The Adventures of Tintin, even Jack Armstrong, the All-American Boy. The title credits to Johnny Quest is actually made out of an attempt that Hanna-Barbera did to make an animated version of Jack Armstrong, which was a long-running program that was originally on radio that coming into the 60s, they figured they'd make an animated version of it. And when that didn't go off the way that they wanted, they just basically used all the different parts of that as part of the intro to the Johnny Quest animated series. And there was nothing like it. But that show helped kick off everything else that came after, whether you're talking Space Ghost, the Herculoids, Bird, all of that stuff. Johnny Quest was the originator of. And it was created by Doug Wiley. And the artwork alone and the basic designs of that show. Oh my God, there was nothing else like it.
I want to
nothing
jump.
else like it.
I want to jump in
There's a
quickly.
CG version of it too.
Well,
Yes.
there was also another show that came out in the
Hold-
60s called Clutch Cargo. Here, share the screen.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. There's two things quickly. One, do you remember the remake that happened, The Real Adventures, where they also introduced
Yeah.
the CGI and they're going to
Yeah,
VR?
well, I
Yeah,
was
just
trying
said
to
that.
forget that. I was
Yeah,
trying to
I didn't
forget
like
that
it either.
because it was just badly created, even though it had some great voices on it. They went out and got he just recently passed away, actor from the Goldbergs. Actor,
Crap.
George
Yes, I know who you're
Siegel.
talking about.
George Siegel
George
was
Siegel,
the voice of what was the voice of Dr. Benton Quest.
The late
And then
George
they got-
Siegel.
Before I bring up, Gary's picture, Nerdy Welshman, we'll answer your question. We'll answer your question afterwards, right after we're done watching this. I'm not going to get claimed for it, am I?
And then
Gary?
they also had
No, this is actually open. That you can
Yeah.
post whole episodes on YouTube.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Nobody owns it. But Clutch Cargo, there was a long-standing lawsuit between Clutch Cargo and Johnny Quest for years because Clutch Cargo claimed that they stole their idea. But this show came out when Keith and I were kids, and this is one of the freakiest things you'll ever see. Animated characters with actual moving human mouths.
We've seen
Oh
those.
God.
Here we go. And it's just so bizarre to look at. Look at those mouths.
Didn't they
This is
also do
giving me-
something
this is
like
giving
that
me
with like
Hobbit
Captain
creepy.
America way back when?
This gives people nightmares.
Why are you
God.
doing this to the chat? You're going to scare everyone. Oh my God. Oh, dude. What the fuck? It doesn't
This
even
was
look
a
like
popular
mouths.
show. It was a popular show in the late 60s, and I watched it. Keith, did you watch it?
I watched it, and again, elements of it were stuff that you found in Johnny Quest. I mean, it just seemed
It was high adventure. The
Yeah.
kid going along with the dad, and basically Benton
What-
Quest and what's his name? His
Rex Bannon.
Rex Bannon was
Race Bannon. Race.
Oh, Race
Yeah,
Bannon.
Race-
Sorry,
Race
sorry.
Bannon.
Rex is from is me amalgamating Racer X. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
But I wanted to get into this one because I know it's present day, and honestly, about the Amazon series of Invincible, I know most of us here have watched it. Kate, you watched the first episode with me yesterday. First of all, what do you guys think of it? I'm enjoying it. I'm sad it's only 8 episodes, but it has a lot, and I know people are complaining about the wokeness here and there, but the show in itself, you can look past it. I'm loving it. I haven't had much
Invincible.
complaints.
You know,
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Let me just say this. There's two things about that show. First thing, it has one of the best vocal cast of
Oh,
any
God,
show
yeah.
currently on there. If you look at all of the
I'll bring
actors
it
and actresses that are voicing for that show, that is like it's a murderer's row of talent. The second thing is, I know that there are some people that are having problems with it, but you know what? Robert Kirkman is running that show. He and his co-creator from the comic are both working on that show. This is one of those rare instances where the people that were responsible for the comic are the ones also giving you the animated series. Okay?
And I got to
got
point
no-
out too, it's also very
Clancy Brown.
anti-woke. I mean, that one character trying to destroy Mount Rushmore was so
Yeah.
making fun of the woke part of the audience.
It's got Ezra Miller.
Everyone is in this. Even Mark Hamill is in this. He's the tailor, right? And we were right about the lion yesterday. The lion is Michael Dorn. So Worf is actually in here. Because as soon as you hear that lion say honor, you're like, that's Worf.
No,
Yeah, freaking Worf.
whoa. You
And
also,
Clancy
you also
Brown
have
is perfect as
yes.
the demon.
And also you have Jeffrey Donovan, and you have John Hamm, and Reginald Val Johnson. Here's the other thing. You notice what the name of the high school is?
Nobody cares about Ezra Miller. Sorry. No, I forget the name of the high school.
It's the Carl Winslow High School.
No, oh my God. They played off Family Matters. I totally missed that.
No. That's not the only thing. Look
Okay, what's
who
the
the
other?
voice of the principal is.
Where is that
that's
one?
that's the dad, isn't it?
That's right, Carl Winslow himself.
Reginald
Reginald Val
Johnson.
Johnson plays
Oh
the
my
voice of
god,
the
that's
And
why.
And they gave him a fat neck too.
Yep. And they
His
made
head
him
is
look like
shaped like a bell. It's like his big fat
Yep.
neck and little head.
And then you have Mahershala Ali, who's the actor that won the Academy Award, who's also the new Blade. But he started work on this before he even got cast as Blade.
Yeah, he's
They got him
right?
before he became famous.
Reginald Belcher. Oh my God, it's Officer. What's his name from? Is it
Yes,
Al?
from the Die Hard
Yeah.
films. Yes.
Or not
Officer
Al,
Die
Al.
Hard.
Al.
If you are having a debate because a lot of stuff just feels like it's going to disappoint you, this won't. It's bloody. Here, I'll even do that. It's bloody. It's gory. It's action packed. It feels like you're watching Western style animation, but with One Punch Man style violence. If you know what One Punch Man is, it's dragged.
Punch Man.
Well, I'm not saying the panel. I'm saying to the people in the chat. I'm just saying it is worth the while to watch it. Even give the first 2 episodes a watch. And if you're not hooked and wanting to watch more, then you gave it a chance. But each episode's about 45 to almost 50 minutes long. And for an animated series, that's quite long.
That's really long without commercials.
Yeah, there's no commercials.
Like the average would be 22 minutes with commercials.
And
Like,
if
then
we're going to talk about modern too, we should talk about some of the really good stuff. One that just got canceled for some stupid reason. Venture Brothers, as well as Rick and Morty. And as far as modern anime goes, I'm a big fan of that show Big O. I like that.
Oh, I love Big O. But let's sum up this one. We got Bird Girl instead of the last season of Venture Brothers, and that has pissed off a lot of fans.
Why?
Here's the thing. The thing is, I guarantee that the reason why they canceled this was because it takes them 2 years on average to crank something out because it is 2 guys doing 90% of the work. I'm not even joking. They do most of the voices, they do the panels, they do all the writing, they do fucking everything. And because there is going to be a longer span of time now, they're going to go for what's easy because they want to crank out their college humor because that's what adults
Well, yeah,
do.
because it took
And
them
they cut out-
16 years to do 7 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did because it's 2 people doing most of the work.
And every season is amazing.
It is, and everything is done to the letter. And it's so much so that if there are a few instances where they reuse jokes because a scene got cut because it wasn't given to the right person, and specifically so Jackson won't give Hank any line, so Doc will deliberately give him a joke so they can have the joke, and that's fact. That's in yeah.
But yeah, it just took too long for him to do the show, and it pissed fans off. But we were
didn't.
But we were
No,
still
it didn't.
dedicated to it.
Oh yeah,
Anyone
the hype
else
for the next
do.
season was like huge. Once season 3 finished airing, everyone was like, "Oh my god, we're all hooked." It's season 4 we're waiting for.
Nerdy, he is in it. We had the tailor. The tailor's like in the second episode,
the
the first
tailor,
episode. Yeah, he
first
makes the suit.
episode.
Yeah, he is in it. He is in it. Hello, sub. Question for Script Doctor. Supposedly you want to talk about the lower decks. Is that true?
No.
Okay, well then, Zax, your question's been answered. Hey, Subhuman.
Nobody wants to talk about the lower decks. Get that
I already
shit off
talked
here.
about them. Go see my channel. Watch the reviews.
The other fun fact is you guys all heard about the Kevin Smith doing the 2 different He-Man cartoons, right, for Netflix. One for a more younger audience and one for the more adult audience. But Mark Hamill is going to be also voicing Skeletor for those series as well.
For both, okay.
Yep.
I believe both, yes. Don't
It's
go,
gonna be-
oh.
It's gonna sound too much like Joker.
I hope not.
He-Man.
I don't. It's He-Man. I'll give it a shot because, like,
I'll give it a shot. I liked it.
Would you rather have another Thundercats roar?
Or She-Ra.
Oh, please don't say that show. I never even watched it. I saw like the intro and was like, I'd rather be picking my nose hairs out and playing
Well,
pretending
what's
I was a
terrible is the
cactus.
title's even wrong because She-Ra is the princess of power. It's not She-Ra
Yes.
and the princesses of power. There aren't any princesses of power.
Well, you know.
Yeah,
had
I
to be
offered my wife
members.
because she and my stepdaughter wanted to watch it all the time, and I said, if I buy you a squeaky Nerf bat to hit me with for an hour every day, would you rather do that? And I got them to stop watching.
So you bought them this squeaky Nerf bat?
No, but I lied to them and said I would.
Oh
Okay.
no!
Chicken shit.
But getting back, what else can you guys remember that was worth the watch? Not today, but like that you wish was still picked up and continued.
Shit, dude. Invader Zim.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Invader Zim was so fucking good.
My
And
oldest boy got me watching that show, and I started laughing. What a
Gur-
great show!
I Am
Gur was the
Weasel.
best.
Hmm.
I Am Weasel was really good. And then there was, and that had
What was
Michael
that, Kate?
Dorn.
What? No. I love that people like to insist that Invader Zim was canceled because now it's like revised history. And we just didn't want to do it anymore, whatever bullshit reason. Originally, it was because when soccer moms found out, what people call Karens now, that it was the author and illustrator of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. That's what got it canceled. They don't admit that anymore, but that's what did. And then they revised it, kinda, and then there's still a TV movie that has not been released.
I really wish they continued the Cops animated series. If you guys remember the Cops
I
animation,
Oh yeah, Fighting
I
Crime
have-
in a Future Time.
I have the full set
Creepy
signed
guys.
by Dr. Bad Vibes, but that was one of the better shows, and it was so well done because it had a great parody. You had Big Boss, who as soon as his mom came to town, turned into a little bitch. I'm going to say that right now. He did.
Yep.
And the mom is like 4 feet tall, and he looks like something out of the zoo. It was great.
I liked Bionic 6 too because it had some really great animation. Actually, there was a lot of really good stuff, and most of it was on like KTVT Channel 11. But they had like Brave Star, Galaxy Rangers, Cops, Bionic 6, Centurions, Power Extreme. They had Jesus Christ. They had Robotech on in the mornings.
I have a question. I have a question.
For a little bit.
I have a question. T-shirt. Did you see any daylight in your childhood, though?
No, much like myself now. I really don't get out of my house much and go
Yeah,
anywhere.
I
and
wanted
see
to stay in
anybody.
front of a TV too as a
Yeah.
kid, man. Fuck yeah.
was the
I will.
80s.
I will prop up something. I'll prop up something more
Please don't be
modern.
your genitals.
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob.
First 5 seasons.
Yeah. SpongeBob was great.
I watched
Pinky
it
and the Brain.
religiously with my daughter, so much so that when she wasn't home, I'd still watch it because it was so weird, and I enjoyed the weird humor.
Smart. I like
There was there were jokes in there that I'm like going, that was not for kids.
Please.
What is
excuse
that?
Keith while he hides the dead hookers.
Keith is in his shower.
Keith, man, did you slip in the shower, man?
Yes,
He's now in the bathtub.
I
the
stay
curtain
in
up
my
to hide the dead
shower
hookers.
just so I can read this.
Ooh.
Now, if we were using chroma key on this, you wouldn't be able to see what the fuck he's looking at.
Ooh.
What is that? Is that an omnibus or is that the actuals?
That's an omnibus, man.
This is an omnibus of the entire Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams run on
Whoa.
Green Arrow and Green Lantern.
Hold on, Clobbern, are you here? Are you seeing this right now?
Clobbering?
Clobbering. Clobbering.
Absolute edition.
Man, all I got is like
my
Omega
God.
the Unknown and the Defenders.
Dude, look at that art. You don't get that anymore.
It's Neil
Oh my
Adams,
God.
man.
Jordan doesn't have eyebrows.
And I've met Neil Adams several times. I mean, he is a living freaking legend. And again, I will tell you, and I tell everybody who will listen, because of how comics have gone, especially for anyone that has been in there for years, do yourself a solid. Go out of your way to meet the people who built the medium, because they do need your time and they need your money. Because a lot of these people have not been taken care of the way that they should have been. Seriously.
Keith is right in this. I'm going to shrink him down quickly. I'm not trying to take away our token.
Yeah.
But we had a great talk last week, and we were discussing backstage about how when he used to go to Comic Cons, and when he went to Comic Cons, you'd see all the people that were just getting into Comic Cons are always on the main floor, the top floors, but everyone forgot about the bottom floors. The bottom floors where all the artists were.
Yeah, all the creators are there. You could go through and get some of the these old issues. You could go to the bottom floor and go to dealers that were selling some of these old comics for like a quarter.
Oh.
And then maybe walk a couple of tables away and get the people that actually worked on it to sign it.
Keith, I'm gonna make you shit with envy right now.
Please no shitting on the stream. I'm not monetized
Okay.
yet.
Shh. All right, listen. All right,
Who's shushing?
he's out there. He's out there in the audience. I know he's listening. My buddy, who is a bit older than me, as a child, had his he went to his first Comic Con, with his Fantastic Four, and at the con, there was good old Stan Lee signing comics. Okay, so he puts his big old autograph on my friend's comic. Well, my friend was freaking out because he was like, he's a little kid. He didn't realize, he thought he was destroying his comic book. And who should happen to walk up at the same time as fucking Jack Kirby? Jack Kirby looks at it. He says, I can't have the what do you call it? The editor, with a bigger signature than mine. So Jack gets his big old fat ass marker out and just scrawls Jack Kirby across it. And my friend is freaking the fuck out.
Well, I have one of my good friends back when he started going to a lot of these, but before San Diego took off, he had walked outside for a smoke, his cigarette. And he kind of looked down and he saw one of the columns there. And on the other side of the column, there was a large amount of smoke coming out from the other side of the column. So he walked down there. That was Jack Kirby smoking a stogie. And he got a chance to meet him and talk to him. And the guy was always personable. I mean, he not that Stan Lee wasn't, but Jack was he was a force of nature and just the nicest dude in the world. And again, in my personal opinion, I think anyone who isn't familiar with Jack Kirby and what he's done, anyone that isn't familiar with a lot of the people that actually built the comics industry, you need to do yourself a favor and just go meet these people. Because many times, especially as a lot of them get older, and I've seen this at way too many conventions, you'll get a lot of people of a particular age that will just walk right by these tables and not give any of these people the time of day.
Because they're no longer seen as the mainstream. But before, Keith, you go on, I have a quick intermission because we have another person who finally got out of the gym and his Barbie dream house. Welcome, Geek Time TV. We now have White Keith versus Black Keith. So we now have the battle of the Keiths, like Spy versus Spy.
And I just showered. I was not in Keith's shower, though, but I just showered for you guys. So
he got out of Keith's shower. That's what the falling sound was. He didn't want to get caught on camera.
It is. And by the way, Keith...
Hey, White Keith!
Hey, Gary, what's going on? Hi, Kate.
Hi.
I got to put my glasses back on. Who else is here? T-shirts.
Holy shit! It's almost like Superman and Clark Kent when I didn't even recognize.
Where'd Keith go? Where'd Keith go? All I saw was pink Keith, and he put the glasses on, and White Keith came back.
All I saw were fingerprints. Hey, Keith, pop on the Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil thing. I got it. Yeah. I am truly blessed to have had a relationship with Denny, albeit short, and one deal. Because we're doing the Charlton Comics documentary, and it's crazy that I'll walk into a show and Neil Adams wait, hey, come over here. We hang out. It's really bizarre because I've done nothing in comics and don't deserve that.
The fact that you got a chance to meet both those men, because I've been trying to catch up to Denny O'Neil for years, and as far as I'm concerned, he belongs on the Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
Of Batman creators.
Yes.
Well, it's part of the brain trust of Batman, because in my opinion, without Denny O'Neil, Batman never would have made it out of the 60s.
I'm with you. It's when I got to his house to interview him, I had to be a fan for a few seconds, and I just said, "Can you read it, boy?" And he looked at me kind of weird, and
I'm so jealous. I'm not only jealous.
And then he asked you, "Why do you have my underwear?"
He did it. Yeah. He was such.
I love your T-shirt.
Oh, thank you. He was such a wonderful human being. We were at his house so late. His wife, Mary Fran, started slamming pots and pans upstairs to get rid of us.
Really?
Get them out of the house! I want to watch my soaps.
Sorry.
Sorry.
It was dinner time. It was beyond dinner time, and she wanted Denny upstairs. But yeah,
Wow.
he was just the best.
All
I
right.
should have been like, okay, we're just gonna take him with us.
I got a serious question for everyone on the panel. If you had a choice, or it's already been done and you want to have it back, what would be the one comic that was adapted to television that you remember the most, that you feel was not given enough respect in your lifetime?
This is gonna sound like I'm ragging again on those guys.
Oh, keyword. Oh, shit.
But I have to say it would be Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil's run with Batman with Ra's al Ghul that was loosely adapted for the Arrow television show. Ooh.
That was what got me into Arrow.
That was pretty horrible.
It's what took me out of it because when I saw it, I watched the very first episode. I'm like, they're making it Batman light by taking the Batman stories and using Green Arrow, and I was like, I want nothing to do
that's
with
what
this.
Berlanti did because all of his other television shows weren't getting picked up. So he's like, I'll just copy the Dark Knight style and apply it to Green Arrow because Green Arrow was essentially in its origins a copycat of Batman. And I remember reading the first script, like Green Arrow had like body armor that he stole from like Queen Consolidated to use. Like it was almost a beat for beat ripoff of Batman Begins. And the other part too is it did the worst. I mean, it reinforced the worst aspect of superheroes in television, which is the team superhero as opposed to the superhero team. It's where you have a group of people that help the superhero become the superhero and work as a little mini organization instead of the superhero actually having the skills and wherewithal to be the centerpiece. Now, thankfully for myself, when it comes to like comic book adaptations, they have not adapted the two interesting stories that I like of Batman, which is from Doug Mank, I think it's called, and it's Prey and Terror, and they are about I think 5 years apart in release, and it's the Dr. Hugo Strange storylines with Batman in his early years. The first one, Dr. Hugo Strange turns one of the police officers into like a night vigilante to go after Batman. Well, he also kidnaps, I think, a socialite. And then the second one, Hugo Strange somehow survives that previous encounter and manipulates the Scarecrow into blackmailing Catwoman and trying to kill Batman. And I thought those were pretty decent little mini stories that would make a great like two-parter type of either a feature film and like a duology or just like a cool miniseries, two-parter miniseries.
Well, Hugo Strange is a throwback to the kinds of villains that Batman was fighting when he first launched in comics. Yeah. Because you had Superman was fighting bad politicians. He was fighting
organized. Well, he's fighting like basically blatant crime and organized crime, and
yeah. And Batman went after everyone else. You know, he was also fighting organized crime, but also evil scientists and evil industrialists. And whereas Superman was always on the verge of killing some of these guys. I mean, one of his first adventures was busting through a wall and trying to take on a guy that was beating his wife.
Oh yeah, who tried to stab him? Yeah.
yeah. And Batman, you know, his first adventure, he ends up killing the guy, or at least allowing him to die, I should say.
Well, the first one, he knocks a guy into a vat of acid, doesn't he?
Yeah. And notice he had guns he was using.
Yeah. Well, that's because he was more copied off of the Shadow and the Phantom at those times before he became reinvented, so to speak, over the years.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's when you get into how these characters actually were when they first launched versus how they are seen now. This is one of the problems that the MCU and Marvel are going to be facing in their future association with Hollywood. And this is what I was talking about a couple nights back.
Yeah.
All of the characters that they've launched, not counting Captain America, but all of the characters based on Stan Lee's version of Marvel from the 1960s on, are just now becoming known enough worldwide because of the MCU. This is all first generation stuff. Okay? Iron Man, Thor, I think everyone, with the exception of Captain America and the Hulk, this is their first run through. And this is the problem and the reason why Marvel has to use the multiverse approach. Because people have become too attached to this first generation of actors and actresses that are making these characters. Versus what DC/National Comics has been doing for almost 80 years with these characters. There have been multiple versions of Batman, multiple versions of Superman, multiple versions of Wonder Woman. Linda Carter was not the first. She was actually the second.
She was the second. The first one was a failed pilot, if I remember.
Actually, there was a failed pilot, and then there was a movie.
Yeah,
I remember the movie with the blonde women. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kathy Crosby.
Kathy Lee Crosby.
Kathy Lee Crosby.
But there was also a pilot from the people that made the Batman series.
The 1966, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And
terrible.
So there are lots of different versions of a lot of these DC characters.
They're even running them simultaneously. They've got 2 Flashes right now. They've got 2 Superman right now.
Well, they're getting ready to cross that over again. Mikey Sutton just talked about that today, that they're discussing at Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers is at war with AT&T, that they want to get the Berlanti-verse and the DC universe crossed over. So
that's because Berlanti's people are pushing for that. And they've been pushing that for years.
But I wanted to point this out.
A lot of arms to get Ezra Miller into the Flash for a cameo.
I remember that.
Keith, look over to the screen. Look at the screen.
Yeah.
And this was the beginning of the transition from 1966 Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Was Carmine Infantino was in charge at that time. Mm-hmm. This is before Denny started writing Batman, but Neil was drawing it. And we got some of the first series.
Wait. When you go backwards just even a little bit from that, when you look at Batman circa 1963 on, okay, everything from 1963 on is completely different than the Batman that you had in the 66 series. And it's what I've been saying is that version of Batman for the 66 series is actually based on the precepts of Batman, who he was from basically 1940
first of all, the serials, the TV and movie serials, and it was based off of the early comic, and
what they had done in also in the 1940s and the 1950s. All of that went into the 1966
where
series.
they took themselves very serious, even though they were kind of silly, and that's what they were kind of going for. They're going for the serials. But it had a huge impact on the comics. And so we had this poison period where Batman comics weren't very good. And it was in the late 60s. And the transition began in 1970 with Infantino stepping in. And one of the first great ones they did was this one, issue 400 of Detective Comics, Batman and the Challenge of the Man-Bat, which absolutely was one of my favorite comics to this fucking day. I love that comic book. They've done two versions of it that really touches back on it with Langstrom. But the fact is, they did it right the first time. And if you've never read this comic, it is available in reprint. You can also get a digital copy at Comixology. Read these comics. The 1970 on is 1970 to about 1981, 82 is really the best you'll see of Batman.
No, your decade, your Baker's dozen years right there, because it's not just Detective Comics 400, but it's also Batman 280, I think, is when it started to get better, like of the main title. I can't remember 100%.
Well,
but
when they moved Bruce Wayne out of Wayne Manor and brought him into the city to actually live at the top of the Wayne Tower, and that's where they took a lot of their ideas for the movie The Dark Knight, were based mainly out of the Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams run of Batman.
Yeah, and it's like, get him out of the cartoony Batcave.
Which was never
and-
really cartoony. I mean, it was an awesome. I mean, it was a crime lab, a museum. It was the brilliant aesthetic. They just made a bat cave underneath Wayne Enterprises, and it had the same sort of
But
function.
when I say cartoony, I mean with like the exaggerated giant penny, the dinosaur. It was just like, get it back to something simpler. And if you go to the Wayne Tower and then work your way back to the Bat Cave, which they did going towards the 80s, it was a little better aesthetic.
But they also borrowed a couple of ideas. What they did was in updating Batman, they borrowed ideas from the Shadow and from a lot of the pulp heroes, especially Doc Savage, in having his headquarters pretty much downtown and allowing him to operate from there. Again, this is one of those instances where you had two guys who were roughly the same age, who understood the origin of the character and the era from which that character was taken from, and a lot of the characters that also helped to inform that character's early years. And I just love it. That whole James Bond sort of aspect of what they did with Bruce Wayne in the 70s. And the whole giant...
Yeah, the Batmobile got cool again. Oh my God, I love that little sports car, man.
I want to ask you guys a question, though. Okay, now, if you guys are all going from the Batman style, let's go from the anime side for a second now. Do you guys remember this? The original. It was right after the black and white.
I remember this.
Yeah.
I still have a blanket of the original Astro Boy, too, and the original episodes on series. Yeah. And honestly, when you this guy, I think was my first introduction to the David and the Goliath format with Astro Boy versus the giant robots, especially when they were trying to relate the family. Mm-hmm. Do you guys wish they would bring this back in a proper format, or do they think they've killed it with the amount of reduxes and rehashes they've done?
I think it can be brought back if you have someone that loves all of it, that is a fan. And I think you have to have I think Grant Morrison's attitude, as an example, about Batman is the proper way to handle Astro Boy. Mm-hmm. Grant Morrison's idea of Batman is that, you can be someone that is a fan of a specific version of the character, or you can embrace the entire history and legacy of the character. All of it. Okay? And the way he explained it on an episode of Fat Man on Batman is really kind of cool, which is, if you think of all of it being true, all of the Batman stuff that you've seen in comics, all of it being true, meaning that when he first started, he was this young kid just getting into it, and he used what he had, and he used guns and the whole 9 yards. And each decade is kind of like in real life, how we in our lives change, how we refine ourselves, and how we go along. So if you look at everything that Batman did, and thus, having Robin as a sidekick and fighting all of the villains and stuff that he fought initially, which were just politicians and crime bosses and all of that, and then you had a reaction to his being so effective, and you start getting into the costume villains, Joker, Penguin, all those guys. And then how you explain the 1950s is his years of being exposed to Joker gas and all of the weird things created all of the amazing adventures that he had in the 1950s. Aliens and stuff like that. And then once you get into the 60s and all of that, and the comics that were about everything that was happening in the United States at that time. Robin becoming socially aware. And those were the comics of the early 1960s that were being done just as the Batman television series started to happen. You had Robin and Batman were already starting to argue. Robin was getting his own mind about things. And then this television series comes in and completely lambasts everything that they had been building, becoming socially aware and basically regressing the character a bit. And then, you go into the 70s, and Robin moving out, going to college, Bruce becoming a lone hero again, and instead of staying at Wayne Manor, living downtown, sowing his wild oats, dating all kinds of hot supermodels, but also, you have Ra's al Ghul and all the characters that you were introduced to, and basically setting up everything that became the modern version of the character. And to me, I agree with Grant Morrison. There's two ways you can look at it. You can be very specific in which version of Batman you love, or you can embrace the entire thing. Thus, what Batman Incorporated is about. So,
which is actually antithetical to Batman too. I mean, if you really think about it, because Grant Morrison is a great sort of comic book historian, but he's a horrible writer.
Okay. Now, since we're on the topic of Batman, how many people got to see the trailer? White Keith showed this to me not too long ago. And have you guys seen this trailer yet?
Yeah.
Is it the White Keith?
Maybe I have, yeah.
Oh, what's that? Yeah, I showed it.
Are we we're still doing this White Keith, Black Keith thing?
You have a problem with that? That's hilarious.
I love
it. Here we have White Batman.
We should put them next to each other just so that it's like I can't tell them apart.
It's like vanilla and chocolate, and then we have the fluffy metal that's Gary.
Well, he's not vanilla no more. He's pretty pink right now. He's turned full strawberry milkshake right now. But when you look at this artwork, do you think that they're doing something right with this? I know I can't play the audio because WB will claim me in a second. But...
Yeah, you know what? It's part of the whole change. It's part of the change of DC animation, because when they did that Attack and Apocalypse thing last year, that was actually horrible. But it was meant to end everything that you had seen up to that point with DC animation. So this is a whole new. This is a whole new version of it that started with the Superman cartoon animated film that they released last year. And
was
so
that
this
the
is
one where he was a kid wearing the flight suit?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were going to do that.
Oh, I'm sorry, White Keith.
Yeah, the art inside is really, it's
far more distinct.
Yeah, creepy, gothy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's look who the artist was.
Yeah,
Tim.
Sale.
Man.
Oh yeah, Tim Sale's great.
Tim Sales is a freaking god. I mean, gosh, he's cool.
Yeah,
love his stuff.
Really cool.
But like, I'm looking at this and like, I just like the way the line work is. They're really going on like Calendar Man, for God's sakes. Like,
yeah, this is some of the same. This is the same kind of artwork that you had for the Superman film that they did last year. I mean, they are really trying to come hard with this stuff, and I'm telling you right now.
Wait, they're trying to do what? They're trying to do what? We're trying to do what?
What did you just say?
What was that, Black Keith? Can you say that again for the staff?
Phrasing.
Okay, they are bringing it. Big time.
That's not what you said.
That's
not what you said. No, I heard something with a C and a hard. I'm trying to. Yeah. Anyone else here come hard? Hey, Heavy Metal Mama, how are you doing? There's Keith in the shower talking about coming hard. But yes, I agree that come hard with that stuff. There we go. With what stuff? With what stuff? CJ wants to know.
It looks like they're putting some money into these things. You know?
Yeah,
well, the DC animated universe is the only thing that's actually picking up. Like, I enjoyed the reign of the Superman and the death of Superman. I love that, and it reminded me of the old comics. It wasn't going to be on point for on point, but it's a lot better than some of the movies we're getting. And when you look at the movies, it's just like, oh my god, there's 3 more hours. Oh my god, I gotta kill me now.
It's a majority of the animation is really good. They've only had like a couple of misses that I know right off the top of my head, which was Gotham by Gaslight was a garbage animated film.
Yeah,
I really hated Killing Joke because of the beginning.
I was so bummed. Hush wasn't that good either.
No, Hush was horrible. Yeah. A lot of the DC animated films after The Dark Knight Returns to pretty much now have been pretty god-awful in animation and execution of story. He even did like the Batman Kung Fu one, which was Batman was a secondary character in that. And they don't even have fun with the fact that it's a period piece in the 70s. It's all about like the Fist of the Dragon character. It has a terrible ending. Then you have like Superman Man of Tomorrow, where
what's Man of Toronto?
Toronto, yeah. Well, come on, Metropolis is based mostly off of Toronto and New York.
I have yet to see Batman jump off the CN Tower, although I'd like to see that.
he'd make it. But like Superman Man of Tomorrow, the story was kind of weak, but the animation was a lot better, a lot cleaner.
It's this.
It's pretty much this style, which is a little bit more like Batman Year One animation, like oh crap, what's his name? Mazzoli?
Mazzucchelli?
Yeah.
Mazzucchelli, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Where it has a little bit more of that extra detail, but the shapes and geometry are kind of his style. And on top of that too, like Jeff Loeb adaptations have never been really all that great on the.
You mean Art
animated
Deco?
Shapes
and geometry.
no, like character geometry. This is an actual thing that we have to talk about when we're dealing with animation. Is like you keep the lines, the shapes and the primitives are consistent.
I have a question. Does the geometry come before or after Coming Hard?
What a question.
Okay. Wait.
What am I doing?
I haven't got to say anything here in a little bit.
What's going on here?
Okay. There's one I'm surprised you guys haven't mentioned, and it has not been brought to animation yet, unfortunately, and it probably never will because most people are going to go, oh, that's so Cold War. That's never going to happen. But does anybody remember Batman 10 Nights of the Beast?
Is that a show?
10 Nights of the Beast, where Batman goes up against the KG Beast, and he cripples him by, actually Beast cuts his own arm off with an axe in order to escape Batman, and then has it replaced with a with a weapons thing. But I mean, pound for pound, he was just as good as Batman. But Batman corners him down in a subway eventually, and basically locks him in there and leaves him to die because KG Beast, if he was captured by Batman, would not ever face trial. He would be extradited back to Russia, where he would likely be sent back out to go kill more people. And this was during the height of the Cold War, when we had Ronald Reagan in president. In fact, the whole thing about it was that he was going to assassinate Reagan. So Alfred actually has to impersonate Reagan in this.
Jim Aparo.
Yep, Jim Aparo, but it's Jim Starlin, man. Jim fucking Starlin.
Well, Aparo's
Mr. Thanos.
Yeah, Aparo was a great artist.
Well, they've got I remember that book. That was pretty good. And then speaking back to the cartoon things, they've got Justice Society World War II coming out in I think 2 weeks.
Yep.
Is dropping. And then that's after that, that's when you get your Long Halloween. Now I'm very curious about the Long Halloween adaptation, because this was that was a story that in my high school writers craft program we studied, because it was so written it was like post-written is the best way you can do it, because like Jeff Loeb did not know what the ending of that story is going to be when he started it. Like he's just all over the place. And then for spoilers for anyone who doesn't know, like the Holiday Killer is like 3 different people. It's just all with the same kind of like motivation that happens to be inside. Like none of them are working together. It's just all happenstance.
Well, now there is something that is about to happen, and I think part of the reason why Warner Brothers is really trying to get back into this is that we are now on track for Marvel to really step up. And so their first big foray will be What If? And so visually, What If is probably the best looking Marvel stuff, period.
For the
I like the look of
division,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, look, nothing against, again, I love Marvel. I grew up as a DC and a Marvel fan, so I like the characters. But as far as animation goes, I think Marvel has just been underwhelming overall, okay? And DC's just had their way with them. And I've been kind of surprised how long it has taken Marvel to take advantage of the fact that they are owned by Disney. And now with What If, they seem to finally be stepping up, finally, creating something that is worthy of everything that they've done up to this point. I think What If is going to be a major game changer for Marvel. DC really needs to compete. Because they are really behind the 8 ball a little bit. Now, they've been running the table, but they haven't really had Marvel to compete against. Now we're finally going to see these two go right at it. They seem to be evenly matched. So
I have a question. Do you guys know what this show is?
Trigun.
Yep. Have you guys ever seen Trigun?
Yes.
I haven't, no.
I don't think so.
Oh, you guys are
Been a
missing
while.
out.
It's really
been a
good.
while for me.
It's adorable. I got taken off whatever I was watching it on before I finished it, though. Remember.
Is someone watching TV? Because I can hear it.
Not me. I don't have a TV.
That's weird.
I don't have a TV in here.
My TV
I'm having a stroke.
Is on
You're having a stroke.
Yes.
No, now that you mention it, I hear something faint in the background.
Yeah.
what?
Someone's TV or talking. But Josiah has something here. The animated stuff was always way better. I'll give you that. It was.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, it was. The X-Men cartoon. If we go X-Men, the X-Men 90s cartoon, especially with that. Great. Okay, I'm
Hey,
hearing
Gary.
myself twice.
There's a Gary in there. There's a Gary Cassell in the panel. What is this?
But all right. But then, okay, we've been talking about Batman. We talked about everything. Let's go. What does anyone else want to bring up? Like, what their favorite cartoon, their anime, like anything they can remember from their childhood that they had an impact on them.
You know what? A lot of I like the Star Trek animated series. I loved Super Friends.
Yeah.
Flash Gordon Filmations cartoon. Do you ever watch that one?
That was pretty good.
The entire movie is on YouTube. The entire Flash Gordon movie is on YouTube. The animated film, and its tie into the Flash Gordon film, which is interesting. You're right though. The Flash Gordon animated series was really good. I love that stuff.
I would just like to quickly point out that White Keith has taken his name and owned it.
Yes, I have.
You're muted, Gary. We can't hear anything.
I was saying you're gay. No, White Keith and
Gary is now muted for calling me gay. I am very happy, you bastard.
But yeah, that Gary in the chat said that he prefers both White and Black Keith.
Oh, but not Brown Keith. I see how he is.
I think he's racist.
He's racist.
Clearly.
He also has multiple personalities.
I have like customers that my dog is whining. I don't know what's going on. But I have multiple accounts that I manage, and so I can like pop into chat as a lot of different people.
That's great. Go on. I didn't mean to cut you off, Keith. You had a story. You look like you're looking in disdain right now.
Which Keith are we
We were talking about the Star Trek animated series. And
yeah, love it. Love that show. And it helps that you had many of the writers that worked on the series working on the animated series. Again, I find it far superior to anything that New Trek's putting out.
What? Even Lower Decks?
I know. I'm bad. I'm bad for not really, liking the new stuff. I don't know what to say. I think I have taste. I'm sorry. I
absolutely love it.
Did you think they could solve all of the new Kurtzman Trek, even Lower Decks, if they made it all a parody where they're being chased by a giant eraser across their whole universe and being erased from existence? Do you think that'd be a big better?
That would help.
They'd probably be copying the final 2 seasons of Lex if they did that.
Oh, I remember Lex. I'm surprised they never made it animated at that point.
Well, it's German. Come on,
What the hell does that mean?
They would have copied Lex if they were erasing the universe, because that was like one of the storylines of it, I think.
Oh, okay. Why do I keep hearing myself?
I don't know. I'll play your game.
You're a good listener?
You have your stream open with it unmuted.
Muted. It's weird. Okay, it's gone now. Someone turned it off. But go on. Who else? Someone else can take the floor and talk for a little bit, because I feel like...
Well, I mean, there's not a whole lot from my childhood that I liked of cartoons, even though I watched a bunch aside from like the odd ones. Like there was this one called Botmaster, which is crazy weird, where like all humans were dead except for maybe this kid and his sister, and they had like robots that they built to help fight against more evil robots. But when it comes to like adaptations and superheroes, I think Earth's Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes is probably one of the better adaptations of the Avengers cartoon, the Avengers comic books in a cartoon series, and actually had a far more definitive Captain Marvel representation in there than they did in the film, which a lot of fans were really hoping we'd see that version of Carol Danvers in the actual Captain Marvel film, but we did not. It was a completely foreign character. But that one hit through, I think, like 7 or 8 major stories in the Marvel universe in that cartoon show, and did it quite fluidly. Yep. Up to, I think, even Secret Invasion, they knocked that one out of the park.
Yep, that was a good show.
I will say one thing I remember, because I've watched the old stuff, and when he's bringing up the Hercules, I remember Rocket Robin Hood. I used to like peruse through YouTube to find it was bad, but the animation was great, and they had Hercules was always known for one thing, that piercing scream, I think from Newt. Herc, your ring, Herc. And it was the whole time he was there fighting. Oh, God. Oh, it was that thing that when you're waking up on a Sunday morning, you realize there's nothing else on except this or Circle Square, and you would rather watch that than puppets talking to you about religion.
Yes. Yeah, and I was scarfing down some food when you guys were talking about all the Hanna-Barbera stuff. I used to love Thundar the Barbarian. That was a good one. Why am I soloed? That's freaky. When that happens, that's scary.
No. That's scary. I mean, Gary.
It's bizarre.
I've got my mouse over top of the camera because anytime he's going to do it, I'm just going to do that.
There you go.
I'm sorry. I have fun with it.
I was obsessed with it. It's freaking horrible, but I liked Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends back when I was a kid. And there was a great Marvel cartoon on in the 80s that nobody really remembers or cares about. It was called Dungeons and Dragons.
I remember that.
It was really well done.
That aired before the Iron Man cartoon.
What's his name that played Ralph Malph was on it?
Donnie Mote.
He played the jerk kid.
Willie Ames was on it, and it was
right.
2 seasons. Yeah, I have all the DVDs.
Okay, we talked about it earlier. Did you see the commercial, the live action commercial with the characters?
Wasn't that great?
Oh my God, dude, it was great.
They should make a movie. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice premise. Like they went to a theme. It was kind of a Twilight Zone-y thing. They went to a theme park.
It was like Land of the Lost, but with Dungeons and Dragons.
Right. They go into this other dimension. And Venger was like a Darth Vader kind of character. In fact, wasn't he Dungeon Master's son, it turned out? So,
that was never actually proven. He was his pupil.
Was he his pupil? Right. I thought they were... Yeah,
I thought you were going to say pupa. It's like, what?
Gary, you're dumb.
It was a good cartoon.
Now, let's talk about a bad cartoon. Do you guys remember when they gave us the Fantastic Four cartoon, part of the Marvel Hour? The Marvel Hour.
Not the new Fantastic Four, but the '90s Fantastic.
No, we don't talk about those movies. No one talks about those movies. Not even the film crew.
Even back when I was a kid, Keith and I were kids. The New Adventures of Batman had Batmite. What a terrible cartoon.
Yeah, not a good version of Batmite. Not like in Batman Brave and the Bold years later when it was like Paul Rubens.
Well, the comics were even better. In the comic books, the Batmite character was better. It's just dumb. Oh, it was just bad.
But no, I remember the '90s Fantastic Four. That was the first show my mom actually saw and said, "This is gay."
It was. It was so bad.
I did not like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
No, it's awful.
But that was just me.
Yes. The only thing more gay than this is Yeti.
Speaking of Yeti, it's that time. It's that time to shit on Yeti. I'm just kidding. But what would you say was a better cartoon back in the day? The original Thundercats or Samurai Pizza Cats?
Thundercats, come on.
That's so hard to... No, because they're so... Samurai Pizza Cats is crazy.
No, I was joking.
Thundercats.
Thundercats, yeah.
Hey,
I do have a thing. I mean...
Go for it.
Here... I have a confession.
Okay.
I know part of it is the fact that I'm a little older than many of the people that show was originally for, but I have not really ever been a real fan of the non-comic book Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, whatever. I'm sorry.
I could understand that.
I've never been a fan of that. Love the comics. I I think the original early comics are fantastic. I've not been a fan of any of the cartoon stuff. When they sold out, as many fans at my age were saying, it's like when they sold out, that's when things.
Well, you saw Raphael stabbing people to death in Eastman and Laird's stuff. I mean, people were actually getting fucking killed in those books.
Yeah, that's because they're
ninjas.
That part of the name that didn't quite live up to what they were doing in the Saturday morning animated stuff. They were ninjas. People are going to die.
I think we have a disagreement in this chat towards the 90s Fantastic Four, and this is coming from Clobberin Times himself.
That had a second season?
He's biased, though. He likes Thing.
I remember Iron Man got a second season where they got like a way cooler theme song.
We've had talks about this before, and Clobberin actually brought it up that I think the animation and everything was better in the second season than the first one, because he is very picky because he knows what he likes and he will always stand by what he likes. And that's when he propped up Invincible, it was shocking to me and a lot of people when you saw that post on Twitter, because he's very not for this today and ages kind of stuff. It's more for like older. But he's saying it's pure
curiosity. You have Daredevil and the Fantastic Four? Clobberin would know.
I missed the entire series because I was in the military, so...
What's
I've never seen
series is probably the best Spider-Man series is Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Greg Weisman's... That was a great one. That got Spider-Man out of like the spinning wheels aspect of his character, where he started to learn and graduate and grow as a hero and person.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like... It was the best adaptation I've ever seen.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That was Josh Keaton, I think, did the voice for Peter Parker. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I had another kind of question. Best love story you can remember in an animated cartoon, anime, or film. Think about it. Don't shake your head, Gary, because there are ones.
Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, Bruce Wayne, and Andrea Beaumont.
I was going to say the love triangle in Macross between Rick, Lisa, and Min-Mei.
Yeah. Gary, you look constipated. You can say Garfield and lasagna for all I care.
I'm very attacked by that.
I'm going to go with Guts and Casca from Berserk.
Yeah, that was a good one. For me, it would have to be either Sword Art Online with Kirito and Asuna, or Meatball Head and Tuxedo Mask from Sailor Moon, the Deke Dubs. Those are both really good ones.
I heard Sword Art Online was very problematic, though.
To who?
To people.
Like real people or people on Twitter?
People. I don't know who. But I mean, that's just what I've heard. It's like, Sword Art Online, second, or, it gets very cringy, gets very problematic, and I'm like, I never watched the show, so I have no idea. So I'm asking.
I've heard that's cringy about that is the people who are dumb enough to think like that could be a thing because they know nothing about neurology and how to like connect things to your brain. Like that. That's the only cringy thing I've heard.
I didn't find it cringy at all. It was very well done. It was they delivered it well about how they were trapped within a VR world, and that if they died there, they died in real life. The machine would fry their brain.
All right. Well, let me do some research real quick, and I'll find out. But you go on.
All right, Gary. Do you want to bring up anything like lasagna?
No, I do not.
I'm not going to blow you up anymore. Don't worry. Well, this awkward silence was brought to you by Neat picking a video. Let's find what video I can...
Steven Seagal to Canada. Drinker was so mean and mocked my fatness and movies. Ah, shut up, you fat fuck.
As
someone, you have the floor. Whoever wants to talk about something, go for it.
You know what? The Mask of the Phantasm one is still, again, Script Doctor, you did pick the top because there is nothing like that. I mean, just that entire film is just amazing.
Still probably,
it's probably one of the better takes on Bruce Wayne because it shows that he's a very secure and rational human being that just is trying to reconcile a promise of justice and vengeance, when not knowing exactly how to enact that, but at the same time finding what's really more important about life, which is living it, and using that through Andrea Beaumont by meeting her, who has kind of like a similar approach to dealing with tragedy in her life, and the fact that it's all taken away by the very corruption that led to Bruce Wayne not learning who killed his parents, just adds more to that. It's just the whole concept of it, and it's something that I wish when those writers, the entire team who worked on the animated series, kind of kept in mind when they were working on Batman Beyond, because Old Man Bruce Wayne does not make sense as a character. I can understand him retiring because he drew a gun and broke his vow and different of the heart, but the whole obsession aspect, that's Frank Millerisms, and that is antithetical to Batman. He's very much a person who would not fall into the concept of obsession with his quest and crusade. He's very much a rational thing. That's what keeps him sane and why he does the things he does, which makes it look like to his enemies he's an insane crusader for justice as opposed to a very calculating one.
Okay, I found it. Okay, since season 1, every season of Sword Art Online has featured one scene where a female character is sexually assaulted, usually by a male villain character. Viewers have been incredibly vocal about their disgust over the exploitative nature of this repetitive plot device for years now, but despite acknowledgement and apologies from Reki Kawahara, even the most recent season from 2020 featured an incredibly graphic scene, combined with SAO's continued inclusion of fan service-style portrayals of its female characters. It's not a great look for the popular isekai.
And yet they're coming out with a movie this year in November 2022. They're getting the next season.
I don't know, man. That's what I've said. I had always heard that they
just
had
a
some
messenger.
kind of problems with it. Yeah. I'm not disputing. I'm just asking for clarification.
I've never heard that. Yeah, there are some scenes I know what they're talking about, but it was more trying to give the tension of being trapped not only within your mind, but someone can actually use a master control program to keep you sedated and locked away. Everyone else got free except Asuna, right? Asuna was still trapped in there, put in that coma because of someone that was physically and sexually, not just like sexually attracted, but just obsessed with marrying her to get the father's company. That's what the whole basis of that storyline was. It wasn't graphic that it showed any nudity. It showed the graphic that she was helplessness, that he could do anything within that virtual world. It didn't go any farther than that. Has anyone else watched Sword Art Online here? Am I the only one that looks like a weirdo right now?
I think you're the
I
only
think
one.
it's you.
Drop dead.
And also, I should point out, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
All right, this one's for Gary then. Heathcliff or Garfield?
Oh, look, for jokes, Garfield. For longevity, Heathcliff.
Okay, and what about Fritz the cat? Who would win out of all three?
Oh, come on.
Oh, Fritz would fuck the other two cats,
Fritz
literally.
would fuck the other two, yeah.
Yep.
I don't want to see that. And then we have another one from Taylor, since we're all Gargoyles fans here, I think, deep down.
It's the one cartoon I never got into, and everybody around me was like, Gary, you gotta watch it. I'm like, I have, it's okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
I love the cast.
I never liked it.
But I think, going back to your one question, the only romances I ever cared about in superherodom is Daredevil and Elektra and Batman and Catwoman.
It wasn't Batman and Robin?
I never cared about any of the X-Men romances. I thought they were dumb.
Really?
As Jean all the time.
You didn't like Rogue and Gambit at all?
No, the whole thing just meh.
What about Cyclops pegging Wolverine? What about that one?
One thing I did notice about those comics was the fact that after Jean Grey came back and was doing X-Force and everything else, her actual involvement in anything really became kind of minimalized. It was like she really didn't say very much, do very much, or anything else. It was just kind of like, okay, yeah, she's back in there. Thank you, fans. Are you happy now? Shut the fuck up and read our comic. Take our, let me take your money.
What about like Peter Parker and all his girlfriends?
Gwen Stacy.
Mary Jane.
Black Cat. Oh my God.
Yes. Felicia
Black
Hardy.
Cat especially. Oh my God.
That was a bad luck combo.
Oh my God. What? They drew Black Cat so beautiful. As soon as you say Black Cat, everyone ditches. What is this? It's so good.
No, it's my favorite. I love Black Cat.
Now, Keith, what is this?
You never heard
Black Keith. What is this?
What does it look like?
You never
It
heard?
looks like a
Heard this
YouTube
before.
video.
Well, it is a YouTube video, but it's a YouTube video of an actual album.
Yeah, the voices of Marvel.
Will I get claimed for this?
I don't think.
Well-
so. It's so old now. I mean, I don't know.
Out there in Marvel.
Dan,
If
do you
you-
have a
it-
few minutes?
Hey, what's all
It
that
allows you to
out
actually
there?
listen to what these people sounded like. I mean, if you started from the very beginning, you're going to get, Stan Lee, and he's talking to Jack Kirby. So you can actually hear what Jack Kirby sounds
You've
like.
probably
You
never
can hear
heard
what
a
Stan
record
sounds
this
like. Of course,
before,
everybody
because
knows
no one
that.
would be nutty enough
Flo,
to make one
you can
with
hear
a
'em
bunch
all.
of offbeat artists, so anything is liable to
I
happen.
think that's what
Hey,
made
what do I do
Marvel
with
so
this?
special back when Stan was involved. Is it was so folksy, and they
Mhm.
really tried to make it feel like familial and involve the fans. Antithetical to today, where they just shit all over the fans.
Who's shushing?
I am.
I don't know.
I want to hear Jack Kirby.
I'm not even pressing the play button.
Press the play button.
It's the one that's like an arrow.
I know. I was just being facetious in my timing.
Jockey Lee.
Well, Jolly Jack Kirby, say a few words to the fans, Jackson.
Okay, a few words.
Look, pal, I'll take care of the humor around here.
You've been using the same gags over and over for years.
Well, you can't accuse me of being fickle, can you? By the way, Jack, the readers have been complaining about Sue's hairdo again.
What am I supposed to do? Be a hairdresser? Next time I'll draw her bald-headed.
Boy, I'm glad we caught you when you were in a good mood.
Oh, Stan, do you have a few minutes?
For our fabulous Gal Friday? Sure. Say hello to the fans, Flo Steinberg.
Hello, fans. It's very nice to meet
I'm sorry, but that picture's freaking me out like the ring. It's like, hello, Clarice. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be...
It did not sound like what I expected. I really expected to be, something more like gruff and New Yorker-ish and then like more tough, like, yeah.
No, he
This
sounds
is-
like the
this is
guy
Jack
that was mimicking his
Kirby
voice in
with,
Superman the
you know,
Animated Series.
It's like, I'm gonna, you better buy my comics or I'm gonna stick this pen up your ass. I killed actual Nazis and shit,
You figure from all the
It
cigars.
sounds more like Ben Grimm.
Yeah, exactly. That's exact. I expected Jack Kirby to sound like Ben Grimm.
Yeah.
Well, I put that link in the chat in case anyone wants to actually listen to the full thing. I don't want to get claimed for it, but I do love Stan's voice. I don't know what it is, but when you hear his voice, you get all like giddy in a way.
Yeah, it's
He's the ultimate salesman. Stan Lee is a storyteller, but he's the ultimate salesman. He had to be because Marvel didn't have as much money as DC had.
Mhm.
I mean, it was just no judgment. It was just like that. That's the way it worked out. And by the time that album was recorded, this is after Marvel had come back to life. After they gone out of business and came back and were reinvented in Stan Lee's own image. So he was in full control. So
when Stan Lee died, it was kind of like my grandfather dying all over again to me because I just pretty much grew up with Stan Lee, and it's like I cried about it for days. It hurt so much because it's just like, even though I've never met the man, it felt like part of my life just died with him.
Yep.
Wait. You never met Stan Lee at all?
I never got a chance to.
Wow.
Likewise, I missed him 7 times in a row. Our schedule-
Fan Expo, right? Fan Expo, right?
There's a fan expo. There's one where he just came by to visit, and I was shooting downtown a pilot, and it was like literally five or 10 minutes walk from the CN Tower, and apparently he was there taking photos with people. And I didn't find out until after the fact where he'd already left. And then there's a time in New York where I was supposed to go to the Marvel building there, and he was supposed to be there doing some signings. This was a long time ago. This is before his handlers were kind of abusing him. And I missed him there, and then I missed him in California a number of times. It's just never happened. But I mean, it's not necessarily. I mean, it's upsetting, but it's not like something I dwell on. And just, sometimes you just don't get to meet people who are quite influential in your life.
No, you don't.
And sometimes you don't need to. Like the work is there to carry on. So.
If you don't meet the man in person, he has years and decades of books and stories and just everything that you can see him in all of those volumes if you just look for it.
Yeah,
I feel like
Mike Pondsmith. I still want to meet you. So
I
don't think he's watching.
Doing the Charlton movie, became really good friends with Joe Sinnott, and I'd go to his house and hang out and take him to lunch and stuff. And one of the last times I did, we got back from lunch and I walked Joe down to his door because he's 90 and he's very frail, and he lived down this hill. And there was a FedEx box outside the door, and it was from Stan. At the time, they were still doing the Sunday comics. And Joe said, "Oh, let's open the box." So we opened the box, and it was all the stuff. It was probably September, and it was all the stuff for the December strips. Had to be inked by Joe, and Alex Saviak did the penciling. And Joe started showing me. Stan always hand wrote him notes and put them in the box, and always drew a little Spider-Man at the bottom. And Joe just broke out a whole bunch of old ones and showed me. Like it was like going into a museum, hanging out at Joe Sinnott's house. It was just the best. What a great guy. What a great guy. Another one. Like when he died, that hurt. That hurt.
Imagine.
I want to ask Kate and Gary, do you guys have like your favorite artist or your favorite cartoon comic that was related in a way that you miss? I'm not trying to get emotional or like a hug or anything. I'm just asking.
I'm not a nostalgic person. If I like something enough, I like it forever. So yeah.
It's a good answer. What about you, Gary?
I miss the classic Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams Batman. I like more of it.
Well,
good answer.
It would have continued if it wasn't for the Elseworld story of the Dark Knight Returns. That really changed the direction of Batman in the comics, because other writers were still carrying on that style, not as effectively, but just the tone of it was consistent. And then that changed pretty dramatically right after.
Yep, that and Watchmen kind of turned the whole comics industry into a different.
Yeah, that's the thing I keep having to tell like younger writers. I hold up both books, Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns. I'm like, these are not manuals for how to write characters in comic books. Like these are like deconstruction narratives for that purpose only. This is not a guidebook. Don't use this if you're trying to come up with your own character or trying to adapt another character. This is the wrong direction.
You're exactly right. You're deconstructive. Yeah.
Well, and again, there are also a lot of young people that need to realize that Marvel had a great effect on DC. When you look at something like when John Byrne reinvented Superman and the effect that his reinvention had on everyone that came after in handling the character. You've got people that I've met where, I'm a big Marvel guy. I can't stand DC. Superman is just so blah, 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 blah. And then you show them what John Byrne did with Superman and how you even look at what Zack Snyder has done with the character. A lot of that came out of what John Byrne had done.
To a degree, yeah. Like
insane,
John Byrne made the Kryptonian species far more cold and sterile, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm. And then John Byrne brought back a lot of the original ways that Superman was like, and took it maybe a step further. Not in a bad way, but he found a different way of achieving the same thing. When Superman first came on the scene, when the comic first started, you're talking a guy that has a lot of power, that grew up in an orphanage. This is before all the Smallville stuff.
Yep.
Originally, Superman grew up in an orphanage.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And his first time meeting Lois Lane is really kind of cringy a little. Where I think when Richard Donner adapted the whole "I'm a friend" thing, that comes directly out of the very first issue of Superman. He never really gave him a name. He rescues this woman, Lois Lane, and instead of saying, "Hey, I'm Superman," blah blah blah, he goes out, "Well, I'm a friend." All of that is stuff that got used when John Byrne took over. And the whole thing about floating above people a little bit, that also has become something that has been molded into all versions of Superman since then. Because up to that point, Superman was always someone that when he needed to talk to you, he would just stand there. When he was always just a guy. John Byrne helped to give sort of like an otherworldly type of ness to the character, even though he also made him very personable, kind of the guy from Smallville. And yet he would also do these things that kind of separated him a little bit from everyone, which makes the Man of Steel miniseries kind of like its own kind of blueprint on how to write Superman. So,
yeah, you should see his house, man. Holy crap!
I have a question.
John Byrne, yeah, we're friends.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I have a question in a way.
He's a good guy.
Was Watchmen the downfall of the hero in its own way?
I think the thing with Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns, it came in the middle of the 80s at the the height of excess, glam, and everybody was all this hugely consumer-based society, and then this dark gritty, these two dark gritty books come out, and they're so antithetical to the entire zeitgeist at the time.
They were very absolute.
Well, they were necessary because I had quit reading comic books that very year, 1986, because of the Secret Wars. I got really angry at Marvel for exploiting the marketing to fans like that. And so I'm like, fuck it. And I sold all my, most of my comics. And I didn't want to buy anymore, didn't read them anymore. And then the producer of our show, Jim Woodward, introduced me to the graphic novels, first Watchmen and then The Dark Knight Returns. And I enjoyed them at the time. But I agree with Clobber and Time. They did damage in the way that too much focus on those versions of characters.
To this day,
it's not even intentional damage. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to this day, they still prop them up as these legendary tales.
Well, the thing is, they're very good tales. The problem is that, and this is I guess this would probably be a failing on the education system, is that it's more people that read them didn't quite get what they were doing, and thought that this is like a reinvention. And it's like, no. This is what happens when you take the climate of that time and have it influence the character negatively for that part, because that's what hurts. That's type of propaganda infecting culture, and it did into a way where even Batman in The Dark Knight Returns, he's kind of fighting against it. He's trying to go back to the old style, but he's got current modern absolutism of militaristic motives and basically no room for gray or no room for reform in this Batman, where it's a Batman that's kind of been destroyed by his own failure.
Well, that plus, but also you also have to add in what I think part of what he was going for with that story. Having it worked out to where it's kind of the Batman that you started out with in 1939.
Yeah.
And advancing that character forward into the 80s. I mean, if you actually put together how old Bruce Wayne was when he became Batman in
1986, right? So he'd be 58 in 1986. So
it is a Batman that, and again, that version of Batman, the one that you started out with, is not the same version of Batman that you have, say, by 1940 or 1941. He's a completely different character. And having to extrapolate that, if you take that version of Batman and put him into the 80s, to me that's more of a logical thing. I agree that many people took more out of it than what was there, and I agree that they took a lot of the wrong lessons and not understanding what really Frank Miller was going for with that particular story. I think it was really meant as an exercise, but also for me, it was just like one of those, wow, it's easy to think of 1930s being like a long time ago, but realistically, not really in the 80s when you think about how old somebody would have to be, and I just, I just think it's amazing. But I agree. I don't know if it did damage so much as just
Well, it
understanding
influenced
the long.
people that just didn't have much understanding of nuance, and unfortunately, that's
Yes.
kind of like a curse when it comes to many of the people that are attracted to writing comic books. Not a lot, not like the majority, but definitely many of them, because you kind of see that throughout all the following decades, and far more now recently than you do ever before, where they just don't understand the nuance of the characters. Because at the end of the Dark Knight Returns, Batman has started basically a rebellion against the authoritarian government.
Right.
Yes.
And it's like that's pretty. I mean, I could see Batman doing that for something far more blatantly authoritarian, but one that still has a possibility of a chance for retribution. He just goes that far over the line. That seems kind of excessive and outside of Batman's purview.
Yeah,
And also,
I was going to say, both books are clearly counterculture for the time. I mean, that's,
yes,
yes, but also you have two, I think, Marvel guys doing their interpretation. Technically, three Marvel guys doing their own interpretation of DC. Basically, it is the Marvel effect upon DC and everyone's interpretation after the fact.
Something that's always kind of interested me is when one of my friends keeps harping on me about this. He's British, so of course, he's grown up reading all the 2000 AD Judge Dredd and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a totally different perspective on it than I do.
Alan Moore,
Yeah, Alan Moore. And that is, I've always stated that I have never liked the Superman character after I grew old enough to understand him more, because I thought, how boring a character is this that, he can do everything. But as he keeps pointing out to me, he says, you need to read, Alan Moore's Supreme, because that's pretty much a much more interesting, much better written Superman than you'll ever read. And not only did I read that, but I also read Miracle Man by Alan Moore, and that is incredibly good stuff. I wish that Superman had been written like those.
I think the deconstruction part of it is where you get into a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. DC characters weren't really invented to be deconstructed the way that they have been. And having a lot of people that are used to writing characters a certain way in the Marvel method of things is, I think, where we have a lot of the intersections of differences of everything that's happened since then. It's easier to do it with characters that were originally constructed to be as they are. The Marvel characters from the very beginning were invented to be a certain way.
Yeah, they're grounded in reality. They kind of live in reality. They live in New York.
That's right. The DC characters,
they're more
those are the characters that all the Marvel characters grew up reading in their comic books. Superman is who Steve Rogers looked up to. Batman is someone for whom you'd say the Punisher kind of read his comic books growing up. Stuff like that. That's the difference between DC and Marvel. And I enjoy both for those reasons. I see DC definitely being aspirational, but I also can understand why someone who's used to Marvel would want to try their hand at giving sort of a Marvel spin to these characters. But you're also getting a good insight as to, you'll have people that will say, oh, what would it be like if Batman, were to be taken over by Marvel? Well, we've seen that.
Right.
I have to interrupt quickly, guys. There's a $2 tip from our wonderful, my wonderful mod. We all know her well as Six. So Six, this is for you.
But if this is crazy, babe, I don't want to be sane. I'm in love with you, Wendy.
Oh, Captain! Thank you very much, Six, for that donation. It works. Any little bit helps, and I appreciate it. And also, thank you for modding since you started popping up on my channel. You're a good member of the team.
Six is awesome.
She is.
I also will say this. Superman as a character would seem to not really be someone that would be that easy to adapt. And he would definitely be somewhat different. In many ways, you could say that Zack Snyder's interpretation of of the DC heroes is more of a Marvel interpretation of DC heroes.
Yeah. Paul Kupperberg and Jerry Ordway talked to me a lot about how difficult it is to write for Superman.
Yes.
Because, I mean, he's pretty much impervious and perfect. So to be able to make dramatic stories with someone who's invincible is really a difficult thing to do.
Well, it is if you're only looking at him for the invincible aspect. It's not about Superman's vulnerabilities on the physical side of things. It's about his emotions, his character.
Exactly.
And that's where you go for, because any smart writer astute writer, to be more accurate, would be like, yep, I can't hurt Superman physically, so what other options do I have? And that's where you get the more interesting villains. That's where you get stuff like Parasite, Metallo, Lex Luthor, and even like to a lesser extent Maxwell Lord. Like, they do mess with Superman in all different ways that they can. And that's kind of where you develop the character, because you've got a guy who, for all intents and purposes, and for a lot of things, a lot of Superman writers forget is that Jor-El sends his infant son to the only place in the universe where if nobody found his kid would still survive. Like, that is the absolute fact of the nature. When they try to say, like, no, he intended it, he picked the Kent family and all that stuff, you kind of ruin the scientific aspect of Jor-El from doing that. You turn him into a god. The whole thing is like he's playing the odds. He's like, I know this planet, I know its gravity, it's a young sun, and the fact that the species looks like us. This kid, if nobody finds him, he will still be able to survive and live a long life. And
it's a very parental thing. Any parent would do that if given the ability to be able to do that. If you knew that you could not go with your child and they're an infant, you would definitely do the same thing. It's just like, I'm going to send them someplace where they can never really be hurt. So,
and on top of that,
physically.
But the miracle aspect is the fact that a family finds him and then raises him well and right and becomes a hero. And the best part of his character is he doesn't become Superman because he has powers. He becomes Superman almost as a thank you for this planet existing so that he could survive. And he finds a responsibility to it. And that's what's really interesting about Superman. But I've seen far too often, not just in screenplay adaptations, but also in comics as well, and television, is they're like, no. Jor-El has to tell Clark that his destiny is to become Superman. It's like when you remove the choice of being a hero from the hero, they're no longer a hero. They're now a servant to a higher power. And therefore, they're not actually making an active choice. They're easy. It's easier for you to write them as being reluctant of a hero, instead of someone like Superman, who's like, I'm embracing this because there's a responsibility that I feel is owed to the people and to this planet for keeping me alive at the same time.
Right.
I'd like quick thing here, Thomas. For everything in the past, this one is for you.
No, can you feel it when I do this? No, can you feel it when I do this? No, can you feel it when I do this? No, can you feel it when I do this? No.
There you go. Hi, Thomas Gilkey. How you doing?
For me, one of the things that anyone younger into Superman would not recognize is the whole change with the character as far as, his parents go. And what I mean is, up until the 1980s, prior to the mid-1980s, Superman's parents
are dead.
The Kents are dead.
Yeah.
And so every Christmas, you'd always have those stories about, even Bruce Wayne had someplace to go for Christmas. Wonder Woman could always go visit everybody on Themyscira, and everybody had some, but not Superman.
Nope.
He's alone in his apartment, just sitting there.
Eating a cheesecake in the dark while wondering why these Kryptonon sprinkles taste so funny.
But I mean, but again, that was the stories. Those, I always remember growing up with those really depressing holiday stories. Here you are, it's like it's Batman and it's Green Lantern and the Green Arrow and
it's even worse though. If you want to go depressing specials, let's look at the X-Men animated series Christmas special. Remember that one when it's all like the Morlocks under the sewers and Storm's their savior, and it's all about that one little dude who stole the present. It gets really bad. It gets really bad. And then they're all handing out presents at the end. You're like, I would rather be listening to Charlie Brown right now than watching Wolverine handing out presents. This is so cringe.
The one thing I'm surprised is, well, I'm not surprised. I bet Keith has probably read this, but the other Superman deconstruction I really enjoyed was the Supreme Power by Straczynski, when he basically he rewrote he wrote Hyperion and Nighthawk and all those guys, which are basically all the DC heroes brought to Marvel. God, that was dark, but it was good.
Is that the one with Power Bottom?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Again, I think a lot of the problems that we've had, especially with a lot of the DC characters, comes from people that just were attempting to do something and it just kind of got out of control. You had people that would come after them just thinking, yeah, this is kind of like a game plan for how to handle that character. And I think a lot of it was just because they didn't understand how to write the character the way they were prior to all of that. It's not easy. It seems like it would be, but it's not easy to write for a character like Superman in the way that you had during the Kurt Swan era of writing for that character.
That's generally, I'm friends with Paul Guyver, and that's when he was writing it, and he showed me he had struggles, you got really gimmicky.
Keith, this is for you.
Which one?
Not the Black Keith. You're gonna have fun with that till the day you die. We're gonna do the Council of Keiths one day, and all of us are just gonna name ourselves Keith. I think that's gonna be great. Back to you, Keith. Which Keith? I'm Keith. No,
and Keith and I will name ourselves different.
I'm Keith the Kiss. I think that's for you. If Keith and I were dating a celebrity couple, we would be called Kicks.
Kicks.
Or Keith.
But I hate to cut this short, guys. We've been going almost 2 hours and 10 minutes. I think we nailed a great formula. I think we had Kicks or Sith. That works too, CJ. But I think we can come back and talk about more animation and just go with the flow. I think everyone had a great time tonight. I thank you for Gary not yelling at me. I'll probably get it after in the private chat. Thank you for no one shitting on me like they do on Yeti and his Wampa carpet hair. But do you guys want to close out by telling the people where they can find you besides prison?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
AA.
Is that the Canadian you want to go first? AA?
Sure. They can find me at Alcoholics Anonymous or Addicts Anonymous. I don't have any vices of that nature. But
he's a stripper.
I can definitely be a stripper. I heard there's once a club by the airport, so I'll get ready for that now.
Those are some weird. Wait, did you do a silhouette? The nipples are the silhouette of you?
No, the nipples are if you don't have an image on the.
They look like a silhouette of your character right now. Your nipples literally look like Script Doctor nipples.
Yeah, but if you don't have an avatar, you have this StreamYard's supplement avatar. That's what those nipples are.
So does everyone like his nipples? They're very strippy.
I love his nipples.
There you go. Get a date, Script.
Oh, great. But you can find me on Twitter at ScriptDoctorPhD. I also have a YouTube channel where I cover television shows and movies such as Star Trek, Star Wars, The Mandalorian, Batwoman, and Star Trek Lower Decks. So feel free to check that out. And then, you've got also Keith. You can.
What the hell happened, you Script?
I learned how to draw.
Well, thank you very much. You can find Script Doctor's link in the description next to his prison inmate number. Next up, oh my god, I almost picked the wrong Keith because there's too many. Next up, we have. Well, let's start with from whatever we were going. Rowan, you're up next. I don't know if you want me to blow you up or not. Okay, that's Rowan for you.
Yeah, at least okay, whatever.
Nothing?
Well, you interrupted. I don't know. You can check me out, Rowan Gingerraven, most anywhere on the internet, and my small business that I have a channel for now, Dark Entries Design.
Ooh.
Super fun.
Awesome. It is. Thank you. And next up we have the man who's going to lace me out later, Jerry.
It'd be funny if I was away taking a piss right now.
Or you were bending over in your underwear.
We're going to be Keith and I will have our panel, our usual panel, and our guest this week, Friday, TGIF at 2:00 Central Time, is film director Ian David Diaz, and it should be a fun show. He's been a guest on our show before, and like I said, we'll have our regular panel.
That's great. Thank you, Keith. All right.
That's Black Keith.
Okay, Black Keith will not be on it. Next up, we have. Let's go to Pink and White Keith, the strawberry milkshake. Hi, Keith. How you doing?
Pink and white. That's my sunburn, man. I got torched.
That's what they all say. It looks like blushing.
I did. I didn't bring any sunblock with me or buy any when I was there. Sorry. Geek Time TV on YouTube. All the socials are at Geek Time Net. We do a stream every Tuesday night for now. I don't know how much longer we will, but we'll move it because there's so much traffic on Tuesday nights. It's hard to get.
Geek Time.
Yeah.
Geek Time. You're kind of buff. You're a little bit buff there.
Okay, this is a closing out, not a hitting on. Okay.
No, he really is. Check out that arm, man. Flex that thing.
These are the warning signs of a cannibal.
That's what it is. It's exactly what it is. I don't have a shower curtain like my compadre, the other Keith. That's about it. Just keep watching the socials and whatnot, and we announce things as we go.
Awesome. He is also in the description beside Black Keith.
Wow.
Next up, we have the man, the myth, the showering eternal, Black Keith from Pop Culture Minefield.
Hey, everybody, my name's Keith.
Cavill. I like Cavill.
Keith, I've never done an impersonation of you, and I just did it.
He also dresses like Neil
deGrasse. No.
You know what?
Fuck you guys.
I'm going to put Keith on the codpiece, I swear.
Oh, God. Do it.
We need you to say, I hate Walter Hamada at some point, though. You got to say that.
Let me just go with the new names. Toby and Walt.
Bleh.
Bleh. Look, I'm just totally amazed to be able to do any of this with any of you people. So, I'm sorry, Wendy. Cavill.
Bam. It's like Voldemort, but sexier.
Look, you can call him King Nerd if you want, but it's Henry Cavill. But again, just check me out on Pop Culture Minefield with Gary because I have way too much fun with him, and I just like him.
Are there films? Videos?
Are we coming hard?
Or are we hardly coming?
Sounds like a personal problem with you guys.
Well,
I've never gotten any complaints.
Why is there a white stain on your screen?
That's a hot spot.
Yeah, it's a hot spot.
Yeah, it's a hot spot.
He is one big hot spot.
It sucks being soloed like that, doesn't it?
Thank you, Keith.
Whoa, we just got really big. What the fuck's going on here? This is right. Whoa.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Why is there two Keiths?
Why?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
No, we're not doing two. We're not doing one or the other, dude. All right, and next up we have the historian. Oh shit! I removed him. Oh shit! Wrong button. Here we have the historian.
Nice.
I have a whole bag of for you.
Yeah. What was that?
I am the shirted one. Yes. Yes, it's me, T-shirted historian, and I am still the YouTuber on and wandering around the channels, getting on various people's channels and raising hell. Hopefully, I will be on Geek Time TV's panel at some point. I think he wants me back. I think so. Yeah. See, cool. And Fat Steven and I have something special lined up for this weekend on Saturday, I believe.
Take pictures.
Yes. Fat Steven, you can talk about it. You could say something too. I'm not the only
I'm
one.
waiting for you to close out. Like, you're longer than
okay,
Culture Casino right now. I got a beer in the fridge. What is this shit?
Okay, fine. Fuck. Yeah, anyway, you can find me on Twitter or on YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you. And for those that are left still wondering why they're still listening, this is the panel. This is the Lucky 7, where we talk about animation and other weird shit that relates to comics, films, and animation. I am Fat Steven. You can always find me here because I can't get out of the door without Crisco. Other than that, thank you for coming. Links are down below. Thank you to the chat. Thank you to the tippers. And just remember, Keith comes hard. Good night, everybody.